Hello designers, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be using the burn tool and the double exposure tool to manipulate an image and basically create a dramatic effect on this lady's face. Let's get straight into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pick your tool. These are the tools we're going to be using, the dodge tool and the burn tool. Both of these are going to create a very dramatic effect on this lady's face. I will show you how. Just follow along the video and you'll easily be able to do it. First, you're going to want to unlock your image so it's not locked and you can't edit it. Next, you're going to want to create a new layer. This new layer is going to be the key to everything. You're going to want to fill this with 50% grey. You should know how to do this now if you've been watching my videos. Fill 50% grey, done, and then you're going to overlay it over the image. So if it's 50% grey, you can't actually see it, which is the good thing about this, until you start editing with it. So if we zoom in, I'm just going to zoom into a face, and then I'm going to select my burn tool. The burn tool is the key to getting shadows out. I've got it selected on midtones at the moment, but obviously you can bring the shadows out in highlights and shadows and midtones. You want to bring the exposure down to about 20%, and then make your brush size fairly big, but not too big that it's going to overdo the image. The next thing you want to do is start building up your shadows. So obviously you know how light works, you know where the shadows come from. The light's over here on this side, the shadows on the right side. So obviously there's going to be a few shadows on the highlight side, but not many. I'm going to just basically increase the shadows on this side and just give it a bit more of a dramatized effect. You can bring the shadows out in the hair, make that a bit darker. Obviously she's got quite light hair, but there are still shadows in there. You want it to look fairly dark, and by doing this you'll be able to create much more of a dramatic effect. So as you can see, I'm just building up the design. I'm clicking the areas where I think there will be shadow and there should be shadow, because in these areas I'm clicking, well, there already is shadow. That's the thing. You see areas which have shadow already, you just basically click at them again and try and build it up a bit more. So as you can see, if I just turn this layer off, we've already created quite a nice contrast on the side. So obviously there's shadow under here. I'm just going to build that up a bit more. Just keep clicking and you'll be able to get more of a shadowed effect. I'm going to just scroll up a bit. I'm going to go to the hair and I'm just going to bring the shadows out within the dark bits of the hair. This is something you definitely want to do because it can create a much nicer contrast within the hair. It just basically gives the image an overall better feel. Now you can do this mainly on black and white images, but you can do this on coloured images. I'll show you in a future video how to do it on coloured images, but the main thing is just to learn how to do it properly, because there's nothing worse than trying to attempt something and you don't know how to do it. So as you can see, I'm just clicking away and building up my selection, bringing out the dark bits, bringing out all the shadows within the image. By doing this, I've created quite a dark image now. Let me just turn that off. See, I've got quite a dramatic effect. I zoom out, it looks a lot like more intense now. So what you're going to need to do now is just probably you could switch now to like shadows. Just bring out a few more shadows within the hairline, maybe down the cheek or something. Just sort of build your sample up, like below here. There's loads of areas that will have shadows in that you don't actually know about. That's the beauty of this tool. There's loads of different areas that you can select from, and I'm just gonna keep selecting the hair. I'm just gonna build up my selection. So obviously there's quite a big bit here, so I'm just gonna increase this and just go over the top like that. And as you can see now, all the hair is looking quite nice and darker. Obviously we're gonna go back through with the dodge tool and increase the highlights. So if I make it smaller, I'm just going to get the shadow in here over the lip, just over here as well. Got quite a nice dark effect on this side now. I think we're building up quite a nice selection here. So I'm going to change to the highlights now and just bring out some of the shadows down here. There's obviously quite a lot within the image, because obviously most of these images you're going to pick up are already going to be professionally edited, so you won't have to do too much, but there will be some images in time where you'll need to edit them and manipulate them like I'm doing now. And this is just such an easy tool to learn that it's just crucial that, like, I don't see why you wouldn't want to learn it basically. Until before, when I was just trying to manipulate images, I didn't know this tool existed, and then I watched a few lessons on Skillshare and they taught me a lot about it. So now I'm bringing this to you, a free tutorial on YouTube on how to update your images and create dramatic effects. So I think that's about good for the shadows. We've got a nice bit of this going on. But obviously you can go back and rework the shadows after you've done the highlights, which I'm going to show you now with the dodge tool. Bring your exposure down to about 24%. Soft brush, about 50% size is pretty good. And we're going to leave it on mid-tones for now. And we're just going to sort of just click away and just add light where we feel necessary. As you can see, I've added a bit to the eyes. This is key really, because I want the eyes to pop out as if she's got like quite rich eyes. And I'm going to just highlight over the lips because I want all these cracks to come out as well. These are little subtle things that will really help you increase the image. I'm going to just create some lightness around the eye as well, just so it doesn't look so pale on this side. As you can see, now I've got one dark eye, one light eye. You can really create a contrast between shadows and highlights on this with this tool, and increase the highlights on the nose, make it pop a little bit of highlight there. Then I'm going to go up to the hair, increase my brush size, and just chip away at the highlights and bring out the colour that we need, that we sort of got rid of when we were burning it. But now, as you can see, the shadows are still there, but we've increased the colour in the hair. So it's looking really clean now. And now if I just decrease my brush size again, I'm just going to go around the dark edges and just sort of add a little bit of highlight into them. Not too much, but enough to make it noticeable. I'm going to keep going around the eyes. I'm going to add a bit of whiteness in there as well. Now, as you can see, we've got a really nice image going on here. I've got rid of most of the shadows on the one side. If I just zoom out, and I'll show you again what's happening. See, it looks completely different now. If we add that in, that looks so much more dramatic and more effective than the other one. It's unbelievable. I'm just going to show you one more time. Turn it off, turn it on. We've got such a different image. So now, I'm going to select my shadows and I'm going to click on the highlights and just go around and build up my selection. If you just keep short clicking, because if you make a mistake then you're going to have to undo it, and you don't want to get rid of a huge amount which you've changed. It just wouldn't be worth your time. And then I'm just going to go around the lips, just go around there, and then I'm going to change to the highlights as well. As you can see, you can really make the lips pop out by changing to the highlights. Now we've got a really nice image going on. I can make this look really evil and sinister, but also I can make it look like an actual proper edited photo. Like if you look at that now, it looks completely different. I like it though, that's the thing. This is a lot of trial and error as well. It will take you a while to be able to learn how to do this, because it's not an easy tool to learn. Like it takes practice. With most things in this in Photoshop, you have to practice them and just teach yourself how to use them, unless you are taking online courses. But these are subtle things that can help you increase your skill level and just basically increase your photo like manipulations, because you can obviously add this to your collages that you make, and then you can bring that into other designs. But there are many different ways of doing this, so I'm going to go back to the burn tool now. I'm just going to add a bit more shadows in there, take off the edge here, and sort of just rub away at the bits that I don't like what I've done, and then maybe increase the shadow down the middle a bit more, get rid of some of the highlights I've added in, and just basically bring back some of the shadows, just so we don't have too much an unrealistic image. So if I just go over the top of the lips again twice, maybe 3 times, see I've still got that nice white highlight on the lips, but I've also got shadows now, so it's blended together better. I keep adding on the side here. I can create nicer more of a shadowed effect. Basically this whole tutorial is about how to teach you to shadow and not shadow the images. So if I just take that off now, as you can see, we've got a lot, it looks a lot better in certain ways. Obviously there's areas that aren't as good. These are areas that you can improve yourself, but there's many different ways of doing this, but this is one of the best ways to do it. This tool has been around a long time and it's been worked on a lot, so it's a well worked tool and it's got a lot of ways of being able to manipulate images using it. So increasing the exposure increases the shadow, as you can see, just like it's basically like painting at that point. So that's why I keep the exposure down quite low, so you can actually control what you're doing. Go at it slowly and start manipulating the image. You can sort of figure out what you want to design yourself. This is it for this video, designers. As you can see, I've sort of manipulated it a bit, changed the eyes really pop out now, and the lips definitely do now. And obviously we've got this dramatic, like one half dramatic and one half's really nice and light. This is what I'm trying to teach you. If you learn this tool, then there's many other things that you can do with it. That's all for this video. I'm going to show you more in future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know how you found it, and I'll see you next time.